So I can't lie, Monday was a really exciting day for me as a Chicago sports fan. Earlier on in the afternoon, I got to watch the Cubs come back and beat the Nationals in Game 3 of the NLDS. And even with that happening, the Cubs, defending World Series champions, going up 2-1 in the NLDS, trying to defend their crown. And as much as I've waited my entire life for that, to be able to say that, and I cannot tell you how good it feels to say that. It's crazy that it just felt like an appetizer for what was ultimately the main course in Chicago come Monday night. And that was that Vikings-Bears Monday night game with the face of the franchise of the future, the second overall pick, Mitchell Trubisky, the quarterback from North Carolina, is set to make his first career NFL start. There was definitely a buzz in the Bears fan community. There was definitely a buzz in Soldier Field. And as I've referenced before, it's the most excited I had been for a singles Bears game, and I cannot remember how long. A really, really long time. I've been waiting so long for this moment, and it finally came. Unfortunately, with all the goodwill from the Cubs winning and all the excitement about Trubisky making his first start, even early on in the game, when you saw some flashes of Trubisky's not Glennon. That doesn't automatically make him great, but thank God Glennon's not starting anymore. The first half score was just like a baseball game, with Minnesota taking the lead 3-2. So the first half of football was not very good. And frankly, the most exciting thing to come from the first half / halftime was the Star Wars Last Jedi trailer. And I don't know about any of you, but there was a big part of me that desperately wanted it to be John Gruden in that Stormtrooper costume, and for him to call the game in the second half in said Stormtrooper costume. That trailer looked awesome. I can't wait to go see that movie in the theaters come December multiple times. And if anything, it seemed to kind of like just kick the whole night up another notch, because when we came out in the second half, granted, the Vikings did the right thing and they benched Sam Bradford and put in Case Keenum, but the team started to find themselves at least a little bit. The offenses woke up just a little bit. More importantly, the scoring just woke up a little bit, to the point where late in the fourth quarter, the Chicago Bears have the ball deep in their own territory, mind you, but with a little under 3 minutes to go and a chance to drive down the field and score the winning points. You were looking at an exciting finish, and it still kind of ended up being an exciting finish. Unfortunately, it was exciting for Bears fans for all the wrong reasons, and for Vikings fans for all the right reasons for them. That late fourth quarter interception by Trubisky, challenging Harrison Smith, not a good decision, not a good read. I don't know what the hell he was thinking. I don't know what the hell he saw, but it wasn't good. It ultimately set up the Vikings in great position, and they took advantage and late in the game kicked the game-winning field goal to win 22-17. So a night that was filled with so much promise and potential and possibility ultimately ended up in another Soldier Field disappointment. Them's is the breaks. But the Trubisky era has officially started, and for a lot of us, that's probably what matters the most about this season. Now, taking a look back at this game, starting off with the good. On the defensive side of the ball, Leonard Floyd had 2 sacks. Akeem Hicks had 2 sacks. Leonard Floyd, early in the game, had that sack of Sam Bradford in the end zone. That's where the Bears got their 2 points in the first half. Akeem Hicks is proven to be worth every bit of money that Ryan Pace paid him in that contract extension. And Leonard Floyd, while he started off the season a little bit slow, I thought the past couple of weeks has really started to come into his own, has really started to show some flashes of the big play potential I saw out of him coming out of Georgia. And watch out for the second half of the year, because this guy might go on a little bit of a tear. But it was good to see that. Offensively, I thought Jordan Howard had a solid day. He wasn't spectacular. But for the Vikings, knowing that the Bears have doo-doo at receiver, knowing that they have a rookie starting quarterback, knowing they are going to run as much as they possibly can, Jordan Howard still went out there, had 76 yards on 19 carries. He still averaged 4 yards a carry for a team that he absolutely torched on the ground twice last year. Howard still had a decent day. He ran hard and he made some big runs. And he did what he could to help. And most importantly, the good, Mike Glennon's not the starting quarterback anymore. What more do I really need to say about that? There were some great things in this game, though, from a Bears perspective. First, that fake punt for a touchdown. It's funny. Right as you're getting ready for that punt, I tweeted out, if you're following me, you know what I'm talking about, and I said something to the effect of time for a fake punt, ? Because it just seemed to me you're 1-3, it's late in the game, your offense needs something, your team needs something, you're in Minnesota territory. If you're not going to try something to shake shit up now, when are you? And my goodness, what a great decision. What a great play call. Even if it didn't work, the play call was still right. Luckily for the Bears, it worked, and it worked splendidly. O'Donnell made a great throw. Benny Cunningham made an even better run once he caught the ball, especially breaking that tackle and that spin move in the open field and scoring. And it was at that moment that I thought the Bears were actually going to go on to win this game. Even with John Fox sitting there in the third quarter and kicking the extra point and saying now is not the time to go for 2, I still felt like, man, there's something there. The Bears are going to win. Of course, I was wrong. Well, it won't be the first time, won't be the last. But speaking of great, that 2-point conversion was insane. Now, if it didn't work out, you're going to look stupid, and all types of stupid, like why the hell are you doing that gadget crap in such a close situation when that 2-point conversion can help you tie the game? But that's not something we have to worry about. That was genius. What an incredible play call. What a great design. And ultimately, if anything, it's kind of frustrating because you look at it and you say, why can't this offense be a little more creative, a little more consistently? Not saying you have to do that type of crap all the time because that's not how you want to sustain an offense in the NFL. But why can't you do this stuff a little more often? Just saying. The bad, Charles Leno got roasted a lot by Everson Griffin. Just not a good game for a guy that they paid a lot of money before the season started. Also offensively, their over-reliance on runs on first down. Because as the Vikings started to clue into the fact that this team is going to run pretty much every time on first down, what that means is you're going to end up with the stack box, a lot of second and longs, which become third and longs, which are not very good positions to put your young quarterback into. The Bears have got to stop being so over-reliant and so God bless it predictable in terms of their play calling on first down. It is a run to the right or it is a run to the left, sometimes a run up the middle. The point you're getting here is that it's pretty much almost always a run. It is ridiculous. You have to shake things up. You have to keep a defense off balance because by being so predictable, you're setting your quarterback up into bad situations where he could potentially make mistakes, especially your young rookie quarterback in his first career start. You have to shake things up. You have to throw some on first down, do some bootleg, do some of this, do some of that. I liked how they did get him on the move a little bit, but they should have shooken it up more on first down because so many times the drive was over after first down because they just don't have the skill talent on the outside to make big plays. Defensively, a major concern for this team, they just don't have a lot of big plays. They just don't force a lot of turnovers. Like people are going to point to Adrian Amos and the big hit he had, and yeah, he has those every once in a while. And he's decent in run support, but he's absolutely nothing in terms of a ball hawk or a playmaker in the passing game. Eddie Jackson's young, maybe he could be that, but right now he's not, and he was in a really bad position on that long Jerick McKinnon touchdown run. But in general, it's really hard to win in the NFL when you lose the turnover battle, but more so, your team turns the ball over twice, and you don't force one single turnover. While the defense has been solid at times, especially at Soldier Field, they have got to be better, and they've got to find ways to turn the football over to their offense, especially now since you have a quarterback that you don't have to hide. The ugly, though, Mitch's fourth quarter interception was just bad. And I'm not saying it to bury the kid because one mistake doesn't automatically make his start bad because it wasn't. That's a rough thing. It's a tough thing to deal with. And understand this is a young guy, and for Bears fans, we haven't seen this very often, rookie quarterbacks getting a chance. So we have to remember that rookie quarterbacks will make mistakes like this, and we're going to have to live with some of them if we want him to learn and grow and become the type of franchise quarterback that we so desperately want him to be. But it was ugly, and it ultimately cost the team the game. Which is crazy because in the first half, the Vikings were absolutely terrible offensively, and you're wondering, how are they justifying playing Sam Bradford? He looked scared. His body language was terrible. You could tell he had absolutely no confidence in his knee. His knee was in bad shape. I wonder what the hell Mike Zimmer and that coaching staff did before the game to point to Sam Bradford and say, we feel you're good and ready to go, because it was easily obvious immediately that there was something seriously wrong with the guy. And in fact, Mike Zimmer and the Vikings are very lucky that that decision to start him and play him throughout the entire first half did not ultimately come back to bite him, because frankly, against a better team, it would have, and they would have lost, and that would have been a tough loss to take. So yeah, as ugly as Mitch Trubisky's fourth quarter interception was, the really ugly performance on Monday night was Sam Bradford. Because if you took somebody that didn't watch a lot of football or didn't know much about football, and you told them that a number 2 overall pick rookie quarterback was starting in this game, and they saw Trubisky and they saw Sam Bradford, they would swear to God Sam Bradford was the rookie. That's how bad he was. That's how terrible he was, and that's how head-scratching it was that the Minnesota Vikings thought he was ready to start. Because clearly from the very beginning he was not. But let's bring it all home now with the 2-minute drill on what ultimately was an exciting day, but still, for Bears fans, a disappointing day. Remember, one game is not enough one way or another to say whether Mitchell Trubisky has it or not, whether or not he's the long-term answer or not. We do know that he's better than Mike Glennon, but that also should not be the ultimate measure for who he is or who he should be as an NFL starting quarterback, because clearly Mike Glennon is not an NFL starting quarterback. With that said, you're looking for something. You were looking for some type of hope, something to latch onto, and I think Trubisky's arm strength, his talent to make some of those big-time NFL throws that I even referenced back when scouting him before the NFL draft, and his mobility gives you some reason for hope that this could hopefully possibly be the guy. And what's tough is right now you're going to have some wise asses that are going to sit there and say, "Ooh, you probably should have taken Deshaun Watson." Deshaun Watson is also in a situation in Houston where he has DeAndre Hopkins. Now he has Will Fuller. That's very unfair to a guy like Trubisky, because he barely has any NFL wide receiver talent. Watson has some. Watson is on a much better team. He's in a better situation. So it's really unfair, frankly, to judge Trubisky right now fully with the lack of talent he has around him on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, you could see where his mobility and his arm could change this offense and change this team and make them more viable the second half of the season, and that is exciting. But you can also see where his inexperience from his college days leads to some bad habits, such as staring down his primary option too often, being a little too quick to move out of the pocket, and then some bad decisions referencing that late fourth quarter interception where he threw it right to Harrison Smith. What was your thought process? Why would you make that throw? Ultimately, it was a tough loss, but better days are ahead. We all know, though, that the better days are not ahead with John Fox and this offensive coaching staff in particular. Early on in the game, we want to talk about ugly. You call a timeout early in the game because you're a dumb dick, and it's a fourth down situation where you could maybe go for it, but maybe you should punt it, but maybe you should go for it. Either way, make a call, be decisive, and then do it. Don't be wasting timeouts in the first quarter and then proceed to immediately get a delay of game penalty after said timeout. That is game and clock management that even Andy Reid would look to with mad respect and props and say, "You go, boys." The one fear I have for Mitchell Trubisky is that the suckage of John Fox and Dowell Loggins will bring him down when he has the chance to be the long-term answer for the Chicago Bears at the quarterback position. So I leave you with this thought. There's got to be somebody better out there. I don't know. Somebody that once had Vic Fangio as his defensive coordinator in another NFL city. A guy who likes a power running game, which he would have with Jordan Howard. And, talking about a running game, you also have Tariq Cohen. An offensive line that is solid up the middle, that is physical. You'd have that. The ability to get some help at the skill positions via free agency in the draft. You have that. A young quarterback to work with mobility, with an NFL arm. Got to be exciting. All I'll say is this. Hopefully soon enough, Jim Harbaugh realizes that Michigan is not where it's at. It's not nearly the major big-time program that the Maize and Blue fans want to pretend it to be. Bo Schembechler was overrated as hell. Get over it. It's time to come home. Not to the Colts. Let David Shaw take Andrew Luck. That's fine. Jim Harbaugh, this is your job. McCaskey family, he is your guy. It is like so freaking obvious. If there's anything that I have to latch onto at this moment, it is the thought of the possibility of what Trubisky could potentially be down the road, especially with somebody like Jim Harbaugh as the next head coach of the Chicago Bears.